Tonight, let's begin a slow, gentle journey to the quiet edges of the American coastline. A place shaped by wind, softened by time, and remembered by generations. A place where wooden lighthouses watch over calm waters, where seagrass sways with a tender rhythm, and where the sound of waves arrives like a familiar lullaby. Welcome to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Before we take our first step, let's settle into the moment. Take a slow breath in, hold it softly, and let it drift out like a fading tide. Let your shoulders drop a little. Let your jaw unclench. Let your thoughts rest, even if only for a moment. You don't have to imagine everything perfectly. You don't even need to follow every word. Just let the atmosphere form around you, gently and naturally. Cape Cod will take care of the rest. Picture yourself standing at the entrance of a long coastal path. It's late afternoon, the kind of soft, warm light that seems to float rather than shine. The sand beneath your feet is pale and velvety, shaped by footprints that the tide will eventually wash away. Ahead of you lies the wide Atlantic Ocean. Not wild, not roaring, just quietly alive. Each wave curls forward, pauses, and slips back with a steady breath-like motion. The rhythm is slow and reassuring, the kind of sound that has comforted people here for centuries. You begin walking, letting your feet settle into the sand. The grains shift softly with each step, warm on the surface, cool just beneath. Seagrass lines the edges of the path, tall, delicate blades that sway in a slow, unhurried dance. The breeze brushing past carries a mix of salt air and something faintly sweet, like distant pine needles warmed by sunlight. Seagulls glide overhead, their wings stretched wide, barely flapping. They move with an easy confidence, as though the wind itself is guiding them. Their calls echo softly across the open sky, not sharp, not startling, but blending into the natural music of the coast. You pause for a moment to take in the horizon, a thin, gentle line where sky touches sea. The colors there are muted, pale blue blending into silvery white, with hints of soft gold near the edges of the sun. It looks like a watercolor painting left out to dry, edges softened by the breeze. A small wave rolls in, reaching far enough to brush over your feet. The water is cool but comforting, the kind of cool that wakes your senses without startling them. As it retreats, it leaves behind patterns in the sand, intricate, branching lines that look like nature's handwriting. You continue walking, following the curve of the shoreline. To your right, the dunes rise gently, coated in thick tufts of golden grass. Weathered wooden fences run along the edges, their paint faded by seasons of sun and wind. Everything here feels touched by time in a gentle way, worn, but lovingly so. After a few minutes, the silhouette of a lighthouse appears in the distance. Tall, steady, calm. Its white tower catches the sun's final rays, glowing faintly against the softening sky. A red roof sits proudly at the top, and the lantern room reflects tiny flashes of light as the lens rotates in a slow, deliberate circle. You turn toward the narrow path leading up the hill. The climb is mild, easy on the legs, giving you time to feel the texture of the gravel beneath your shoes and the subtle thickening of the breeze as you rise higher. A few birds rest on the fence posts, their feathers ruffling gently as the wind slides past. Near the top, the view opens wide. Imagine looking down at the coastline from just above, a sweeping arc of pale sand meeting a calm, shimmering ocean. The waves create thin white lines that stretch far down the shoreline, like gentle strokes from a soft brush. You reach the lighthouse. Standing close to it, you can see where years of salt have pressed into the stone, leaving faint marks, tiny cracks, and quiet stories. The door is weathered but strong. The windows glint softly, catching the last of the day's light. You place your hand against the side of the tower. The surface feels cool, grounding, solid, as if it has been standing here waiting for your touch, ready to offer a moment of stillness. A bench sits a few steps away, facing the ocean. You take a seat. The wood is smooth from years of visitors resting exactly where you are now. Tired travelers, quiet locals, dreamers, wanderers, people seeking a breath of peace. From up here, the wind feels a little stronger, but still warm enough to soften the edges of the day. You hear the deep, steady rhythm of the lighthouse lantern as it makes its slow rotation inside the glass. A soft hum, almost like a mechanical whisper, repeating the same motion it has carried out night after night for generations. Sitting here, you get the sense that the lighthouse has watched countless evenings fall over Cape Cod. It has witnessed storms and quiet nights, fishing boats returning home, lovers walking along the shore, children chasing the tide, and families building memories that linger long after the waves wash their footprints away. As you breathe in, the ocean scent fills your lungs, salty, fresh, bold, yet comforting. As you exhale, the tension leaves your body, slowly and naturally, like the tide pulling away from the sand. You close your eyes for a moment. You listen. The waves, the birds, the subtle thrum of the lighthouse, all of it blends into a single, calming harmony. Up here, time doesn't feel measured by minutes or hours. It feels measured by the heartbeat of the sea. When you open your eyes, the sky has shifted. The sun is lower now, deepening toward the horizon, preparing to paint the world with warm colors. But we'll walk into that sunset together in the next part. For now, just rest here. Let the lighthouse stand guard beside you. Let the ocean breathe in slow, steady cycles. Let your thoughts quiet like sand settling in still water. This is Cape Cod, calm, timeless, and gently holding you in its arms. You rise gently from the bench beside the lighthouse, feeling lighter now, as if the ocean air has smoothed out the rougher edges of your thoughts. The late afternoon sun has dipped lower in the sky, turning the light softer, warmer, almost honey-colored. It spills across the landscape, touching the dunes, the distant rooftops, and the rolling waves in shimmering highlights. A narrow trail winds down from the lighthouse toward a small village not far away. You begin following it. Your steps fall into an easy rhythm, the gravel beneath you crunching softly with each movement. The wind carries faint scents from the town, wood smoke, fresh bread, and something sweet, maybe vanilla, from a nearby bakery preparing its last batch of pastries for the day. As you approach the village, the atmosphere shifts. It becomes quieter, more intimate, like a place that has learned to move gently with time. The houses lining the street are simple but charming. Weathered wooden shingles, white trimming around the windows, small porches with rocking chairs that sway slightly in the breeze, even when no one sits on them. Hydrangeas in pale blue and violet spill over from neatly kept gardens, their blossoms large and soft, catching the fading sunlight beautifully. The first shop you pass is an antique store. The sign creaks softly on its metal chain, rocking with the wind. Through the large front window, you spot old wooden ship wheels, yellowed maps of New England's coastline, and shelves filled with stories. Books whose pages have turned the color of warm tea with age. You imagine each item having a life before it ended up here. A seashell collected on a forgotten summer afternoon, a postcard written during a quiet evening decades ago, a lantern that once guided sailors home. Next to the antique store sits a tiny cafe. The door stands slightly open, letting the aroma of warm cinnamon float into the street. Inside, you see a couple sitting near the window, older, relaxed, their hands resting near each other without needing to touch. A soft jazz melody plays from a speaker tucked somewhere behind the counter, its notes drifting out onto the sidewalk like a gentle invitation. You continue walking, letting the village reveal itself, one detail at a time. A cat lies curled on a sunlit patch of wooden steps, its fur rising and falling slowly as it sleeps. A row of bicycles leans casually against a fence, each one painted a different pastel color. A young boy tosses small pieces of bread toward a cluster of gulls, laughing quietly each time one swoops down to catch a crumb in midair. At the edge of the village, you arrive at a small harbor where fishing boats rest for the evening. The dock creaks under your feet as you step onto it, the wood aged by countless tides and sun-filled days. The boats sway gently, bumping softly against the posts, creating a faint tapping rhythm, almost like a heartbeat of the harbor itself. A fisherman stands near one of the boats, coiling a rope with slow, practiced movements. His face is worn but peaceful. When he notices you, he gives a small nod, the kind that says everything without saying anything, a greeting as old as the sea, simple and sincere. You can tell he's spent a lifetime here, moving with the tides, reading the sky, trusting the water. He doesn't need to speak. The scene speaks for him. You walk further along the dock until you reach its end. From here, the marina opens into a wide stretch of water. The surface shimmers with the last golden rays of the sun. Ripples expand gently, overlapping like small, delicate breaths. The reflection of the lighthouse, now glowing brighter as dusk approaches, stretches across the water in a long, wavering beam. Just below you, the water laps against the posts, a soft, rhythmic sound that feels somehow familiar and comforting. You lean slightly over the edge, watching the subtle movement of the tide. Fish dart by occasionally, their bodies catching flashes of color as they slip through the shadows beneath the dock. A distant bell rings, a buoy just offshore. Its tone is low and warm, carried by the wind like a slow call from the ocean itself. The sound echoes across the harbor, blending with the gulls, the waves, and the faint chatter of villagers finishing their evening chores. The sky deepens in color. Subtle shades of peach, lavender, and light orange stretch across the horizon, blending into each other without hard edges. Cape Cod evenings are known for this, the kind of sunset that feels soft enough to hold. As the light fades, lanterns along the pier begin to flicker on. Their glow is dim and golden, casting gentle halos around the dock. The warmth of the light contrasts with the coolness of the approaching night, creating a peaceful balance that feels both grounding and tender. You take a slow breath, and then another. Your body naturally mirrors the steady rhythm around you. Now the village behind you has grown quieter. Doors close softly, curtains are drawn, footsteps fade. The day is folding itself neatly into night, like a book being gently closed at the end of a chapter. Feeling drawn back to the shoreline, you begin walking again. The path from the harbor curves toward a quieter stretch of beach, one that feels more hidden, more private. The sand here is smoother, hardly touched by footprints. The only marks are tiny trails left by birds wandering along the tide line. You step onto the sand. It's cooler now, but still soft beneath your feet. The ocean, too, has changed with the sky. It's darker, deeper, but no less calm. The waves move with a slower rhythm, as if preparing the world for rest. Far off in the distance, a single sailboat drifts lazily across the quiet water, its white sail catching what little light remains. It moves almost effortlessly, carried by a gentle breeze instead of any sense of urgency. You sit down on the sand, letting your weight settle fully. The earth supports you without question, steady and cool. You stretch your legs slightly, letting your hands sink into the sand on either side. The grains slip between your fingers, smooth, fine, almost silky. In this moment, there is no noise that demands attention, no movement that requires you to react. Just calmness, just rhythm, just the soft lullaby of evening settling over Cape Cod. You look out toward the horizon once more, watching as the last hint of sunlight melts into the quiet sea. The first stars appear, faint at first, then brighter as the sky deepens. The lighthouse begins its steady pattern. A slow sweep of light, a pause, another sweep, over and over, constant and reassuring. Its glow stretches over the water like a hand guiding you gently into the night. You let your breath follow that rhythm. Slow in, soft out. Everything here moves with purpose, yet without rush. Everything here belongs exactly where it is, including you. You stay seated on the sand for a few more moments, letting the last traces of daylight fade gently from the sky. There's a kind of magic in this transition, the quiet passing from evening into night. It's not abrupt, it's not dramatic. It's slow, patient, and soft, as though the world wants to be sure you're ready before it dims the lights. As the stars begin to strengthen overhead, you rise slowly, brushing the cool sand from your palms. The air has grown a little cooler now, carrying a richer depth of ocean scent, salt mixed with the faint mineral fragrance of wet sand and drifting sea spray. The breeze is steady, but not cold. It moves like a gentle hand smoothing over your shoulders. A small path leads you along the curve of the beach toward a more secluded area. The sand becomes even finer here, like sifted powder that whispers under your steps. Driftwood rests at the edges, pale and smooth after years of weathering, their shapes twisted and sculpted by the sea. Ahead, the shoreline widens into a broad crescent. The waves roll in with the slow, steady sound of breath. Each wave arrives like an exhale, each retreat like an inhale, a natural rhythm that seems to align perfectly with your own. Across the water, the lighthouse beam continues its rotation. From this distance, the light stretches far across the surface, a long, shimmering path that pulses gently with every movement of the tide. It feels almost symbolic, a reminder that even in darkness, something steady remains. You walk closer to the edge of the water until the tide brushes your feet again. The coolness surprises you for a second, but the feeling quickly settles into something refreshing and grounding. You let your feet sink slightly into the wet sand, the grains wrapping around your ankles like a soft embrace. A few pebbles glisten where the waves have just washed over them, reflecting bits of the lighthouse glow. They sparkle faintly, like tiny stars fallen to the earth. You decide to keep walking, following the curve of the coastline toward a cluster of dunes rising gently in the distance. As you walk, you notice that the sounds of the world are shifting. The gulls have quieted for the night. The harbor is still behind you, and only the ocean remains awake, whispering its endless lullaby. A faint crunching sound joins your footsteps, the gentle noise of dry seagrass brushing together in the breeze. The dunes here are tall, holding the shape of the day's wind in smooth, sculpted ripples. You run your fingers lightly over one of the ridges. The sand is cooler now, and pleasantly firm under your touch. There is a wooden staircase nearby, its planks worn soft by years of sun and tide. You climb a few steps and then take a seat halfway up, giving yourself a higher view of the beach. From here, the landscape opens in a wide embrace: the darkening ocean, the long sweep of shoreline, the glowing beam of the lighthouse, and the endless sky stretching above it all. You lean your elbows on your knees and slow your breathing again. The night has fully settled now, and with it comes a deeper kind of stillness. Not silent, the ocean continues its steady rhythm, but peaceful, balanced, whole. Behind you, the dune grass rustles in the wind, creating a soft, layered texture to the soundscape. Each blade moves independently, yet somehow they form a single harmonious whisper. The combination of ocean and grass creates a natural duet, weaving together like two elements of the same song. You sit for a while longer, letting the calm seep deeper into your mind. The worries of the day feel far away now, blurred by distance and softened by the gentle pull of the sea. There is something about Cape Cod at night, something quiet and ancient, that reminds you it's okay to rest, to pause, to breathe. After a few minutes, you continue your walk along the upper edge of the beach. The stars above feel brighter here, far from city lights. A few constellations stand out clearly: Orion, Cassiopeia, the Big Dipper, familiar shapes that have guided travelers across countless nights. The moon is low on the horizon, thin and silver, casting a pale glow over the water. The reflection shivers across the waves, breaking and reforming with every movement of the tide. It's a mesmerizing sight, one that seems to draw your eyes naturally toward it. As you walk, you notice a small inlet nearby where the water pools gently between curved stretches of sand. The surface here is almost perfectly still, like glass. You step closer and kneel beside it. The water reflects the sky so clearly that for a moment it feels like looking into another world, a quiet, mirrored universe where everything is peaceful and untouched. You dip your fingers into the pool. The water is cool, smooth, and surprisingly comforting. The ripples spread outward in delicate circles, then melt seamlessly back into stillness. You rise again and continue along the sand, noticing in the distance a wooden boardwalk that extends over the dunes. It's narrow and quiet, the wood faded from years under the summer sun. Lanterns line each side, spaced evenly apart, their glow soft and golden. You climb onto the boardwalk and feel its gentle flexibility beneath your steps. The lantern light creates warm pools along the path, illuminating your way with a cozy, reassuring presence. As you walk, you can hear insects faintly in the distance, singing their nighttime chorus. Their sound is soft and rhythmic, blending with the ocean breeze to create a soothing natural tapestry, the kind of background sound that quiets the mind without demanding attention. You reach the highest point of the boardwalk, a lookout platform built above the dunes. From here, the view is breathtaking. The beach curves below you in a sweeping arc. The lighthouse stands tall on its hill, its beam cutting through the night in slow, even intervals. The ocean stretches endlessly into darkness, and above it all, the sky glitters with 1,000 stars. You rest your hands on the wooden railing and breathe in deeply. The air tastes fresh and clean, with a hint of salt and coolness. Every breath feels like it brings more space into your mind. There is no rush here, no urgency, just the feeling of being exactly where you need to be. The night wraps around you like a soft blanket, and the world feels gentle, open, and safe. Cape Cod in the daytime is beautiful, but Cape Cod at night is peace. You stay at the lookout platform for a moment longer, letting the night air settle comfortably around you. There's a purity to the silence here, not the empty silence of isolation, but the full, living quiet of nature at rest. Every sound is soft, unhurried, intentional. The waves far below form a constant lullaby, steady and calming. The wind hums gently through the dune grass. The lighthouse beam continues its slow sweep, like a steady breath marking the passing of time. When you're ready, you step down from the platform and follow the boardwalk back toward the sand. Your footsteps land quietly on the wooden planks, each one adding to the gentle rhythm of the night. When you reach the beach again, you pause, letting your toes sink into the cool sand. The texture is smoother now, almost silky under the moonlight. The tide has risen, coming closer to the upper edge of the beach. Waves glide in with long, smooth motions, leaving behind a sheen of silver as they pull away. The entire surface of the ocean reflects the moon, creating shimmering pathways that stretch endlessly into the horizon. It feels like a place where you could walk, not physically, but in your thoughts, traveling far into the night without ever leaving the safety of the shore. You begin strolling once more, this time moving slowly along the water's edge. The world seems to have softened into simplicity. The ocean, the sky, the dunes, the lighthouse. Each element fits perfectly with the others, creating a sense of harmony that settles warmly in your chest. You notice small crabs moving along the sand, their tiny legs tapping lightly as they scatter away from the incoming tide. Their movements are quick but quiet, adding subtle details to the nighttime scene. A pair of gulls rest farther up the beach, their feathers fluffed against the cool breeze. Even they seem calmer now, lulled by the rhythm of the waves. As you walk, you spot a piece of driftwood resting half buried in the sand. It's pale, smoothed by years of tumbling through the ocean. You run your fingertips along its surface, feeling the grooves and ridges shaped by time. The wood is cool but comfortable to the touch, like an object that has known countless shores before finding itself here tonight. A little farther along the beach, you reach a place where the dunes part slightly, making room for a quiet stretch of flat sand. Here, the sound of the ocean becomes slightly louder, deeper, more resonant. The waves are larger in this area, rolling in with a slow, full-bodied rhythm. You take a seat on the sand, drawing your knees slightly toward your chest as you inhale the cool night air. The sky above you is astonishingly clear. Stars scatter across the darkness like tiny lanterns hung in an endless expanse. Some shimmer faintly, twinkling with delicate movements. Others glow steadily, offering a sense of stillness. You recognize constellations you've seen before, and others you might not know the names of, but they all add to the feeling of quiet wonder. The lighthouse beam continues its slow sweep across the sky, briefly illuminating portions of the night before leaving them in darkness again. You follow its path with your eyes, watching how the beam stretches over the waves, over the dunes, over the sky itself, always moving, never hurried. You shift your attention to the soundscape again. The ocean is louder here, but still soothing. Each wave arrives like a gentle, predictable drumbeat. The pause between waves feels peaceful, like the world inhaling. Then the next wave arrives, releasing that breath with a soft sigh. If you listen carefully, you can hear faint echoes from the dunes, tiny movements of sand, the delicate rustling of seagrass, the soft clicking of insects hiding between the blades. Everything feels alive in its own quiet way. You decide to lie back on the sand, letting your body sink slightly into its cool surface. The texture conforms to your shape, holding you comfortably. The sky fills your entire view now, endless, deep, glowing with distant light. There's something grounding about it, as though being beneath the stars reminds you of your place in the world. Small, but safe, quiet, but meaningful. The breeze brushes gently across your face. You inhale deeply, letting the scent of the ocean fill your lungs. It's clean, crisp, soothing, the unmistakable fragrance of salt, wind, and distant waves. You close your eyes for a moment, letting the sounds guide your imagination. You picture yourself floating on calm water, drifting effortlessly. You imagine the waves carrying you gently, safely, slowly. You feel yourself becoming lighter, as if the night itself is holding you up. When you open your eyes again, the sky hasn't changed, still deep, star-filled, peaceful. But you feel even more relaxed now, as though every part of you has softened into the night. You sit up slowly, brushing the sand from your arms. A faint trail of moonlight leads along the beach, catching the edges of the waves and the gentle curves of the shoreline. You follow it, stepping lightly over the cool sand as you continue your nighttime walk. Off in the distance, you can see the silhouette of another small dune. Behind it, a faint glow suggests the presence of a cottage, perhaps one of the many small homes tucked quietly along the Cape Cod coast. You imagine families inside, settling into bed, listening to the same ocean you hear now. The thought adds a sense of warmth, a reminder that you're not alone in this peaceful night. As you walk, you notice small holes in the sand, the homes of tiny creatures living beneath the surface. Some of them emerge briefly, their dark shapes skittering across the shoreline before disappearing again. The beach at night belongs to them, and their presence adds a gentle, natural energy to the world. The wind picks up slightly, but it remains warm enough to be comforting. It moves through your hair, brushes against your cheeks, and flutters lightly at the edges of your clothing. Every sensation is soft, soothing, effortless. You pause again to look out at the ocean. The waves have grown slightly taller now, but their movements are still smooth, unthreatening. They seem almost thoughtful, as though they're carrying stories from faraway shores, stories told in whispers and echoes only the patient can hear. You breathe in deeply once more, letting the cool air fill your chest. You breathe out slowly, letting the day fully slip away. In the distance, the lighthouse continues its watch. Its beam cuts through the night with unwavering consistency, moving at the same slow, calming pace it has kept for generations. It feels like a guardian of the coast, offering quiet reassurance to anyone who looks its way. You continue your walk, following the shoreline as the night deepens. There is still more to explore, more peace to discover, more quiet moments waiting along this gentle stretch of Cape Cod. And all of it belongs to you. You continue along the shoreline, following the moonlit path that curves gently through the night. The waves beside you rise and fall with unbroken rhythm, their soft murmurs blending seamlessly with the quiet pulse of the wind. There's something profoundly soothing about this steady consistency. Nothing rushes, nothing interrupts. Everything simply moves at the pace nature intended. As you walk, you notice that the beach begins to change character. The sand becomes slightly firmer beneath your feet, compact from years of tides shaping it. The grains glimmer faintly under the moonlight, catching bits of silver as though sprinkled with tiny stars. Each step feels deliberate yet effortless, and the world remains wrapped in its embrace of calm darkness. Ahead, a cluster of tall dune grass rises like a quiet guardian between the beach and the inland paths. The blades sway gently, creating soft whispers that build and dissolve with each passing gust. You step closer, letting your hands brush lightly against the tips of the grass. They feel cool, delicate, and surprisingly smooth, their movements syncing with your breath. A narrow trail cuts between the dunes, winding toward a grove of coastal pines just beyond. The path is soft, the sand mixed with traces of soil carried by wind and time. You follow it, curious to see where it leads. As you move away from the water, the sound of the waves grows quieter, fading into a distant hum. In its place comes a new soundscape, one made of rustling branches, the soft creak of trees, and the occasional flutter of a night bird taking flight. The pines tower gently above you, their silhouettes dark against the sky. The air beneath them is cooler, infused with the rich scent of pine resin and earth. The needles underfoot form a soft, natural carpet that cushions your steps. Each movement feels hushed, respectful, as though the forest itself invites silence. You pause at the edge of the grove, looking up at the canopy. The branches sway slightly, creating patterns in the sky as they shift against the backdrop of stars. Every flicker of moonlight feels like a small blessing filtered through the quiet movement of the trees. You continue deeper into the grove, where the path widens slightly. A wooden bench sits beneath an enormous pine, its surface worn smooth by the hands and rest of many visitors over the years. You sit down, letting your body settle comfortably into its shape. The air is cooler here, but only enough to refresh you, never to chill. From this spot, you can still hear the ocean, faint but present, like a familiar voice calling from far away. It blends with the forest sounds in a seamless harmony, a mix of sea and land, each component essential to the peacefulness of Cape Cod at night. You close your eyes and breathe deeply, inhaling the earthy scent. Pine, sand, ocean, night air, all weave together into something calming and grounded. For a moment, you feel as though the entire world has slowed down just for you. When you open your eyes, the moonlight filters through the branches, creating soft beams that fall across the forest floor. It illuminates small patches of moss, scattered pine cones, and the delicate shapes of tiny flowers that bloom even in the shadowed quiet of night. After resting for a while, you stand and continue walking. The path gradually narrows again, guiding you toward an open clearing. As you step out of the grove, the sky widens above you, revealing a breathtaking view of the beach from a slightly elevated angle. This viewpoint sits high on a sandy ridge. From here, you can see the shoreline stretching far in both directions, a gentle arc of silver and black where the moonlight meets the sea. Below, the waves glow faintly as they approach the sand, their edges glistening like threads of quicksilver. You stand there quietly, absorbing the calmness of the scene. The lighthouse beam sweeps across the landscape again, slow and steady, painting a soft path of light that briefly touches the water and the dunes before slipping away. From this ridge, the night feels deeper, but also somehow more comforting. There's a sense of ancient stillness here, as though countless travelers before you have stood in this very spot, listening to the same night sounds, watching the same moonlit waves, feeling the same peace. You descend gently from the ridge and return to the beach. The sand feels cooler now, soothing beneath your feet. The ocean is closer again, the waves rolling in with a slightly slower rhythm, their crests soft and smooth in the dim light. A pair of small sandpipers runs along the shoreline, their tiny steps quick but silent. They dart toward the water, pause, and then retreat in perfect coordination. Their presence adds a touch of liveliness to the serenity of the night. You continue walking until you reach a long stretch of beach where large pieces of driftwood lie scattered like sculptures. Some pieces are twisted into elegant shapes, their shadows stretching long and thin behind them. You sit on one, feeling its cool, polished surface beneath your palms. The wood is smooth from years of storms, waves, and sunlight, nature's long, patient sculpting. From this vantage point, the vastness of the ocean feels even more apparent. The horizon blends seamlessly into the sky, and the stars seem to reach all the way down to the waterline. You watch as the waves arrive in quiet, continuous lines, each one unique, yet part of the same eternal rhythm. You breathe in deeply, letting the moment fill you entirely. This is the kind of night that stays in memory, not because of anything dramatic, but because of how gently it wraps around you, how quietly it comforts, how completely it allows the mind to rest. You feel grounded, safe, and present. Your thoughts soften. Your breathing becomes slower, more natural. The night on Cape Cod is not merely a backdrop, it's an experience, a soothing embrace from land, sea, and sky working together. You rise once more, ready to continue the journey. There is still more night ahead, more quiet corners, more gentle moments, more calm waiting for you along this peaceful coastline. Cape Cod will lead you there, at the same slow, steady pace that has carried you this far. You rise from the driftwood and continue following the curve of the shoreline, moving slowly, as though your steps are part of the night's rhythm. The beach widens again here, stretching into a broad, open sweep of sand that looks almost untouched. The moonlight pours over it like a soft silver veil, giving everything a quiet glow. Your shadow lengthens behind you, faint but present, sliding over the sand with each gentle step. The waves seem calmer here, rolling in with an almost meditative slowness. Each one drifts forward, pauses, and retreats with a gentle sigh. They don't rush, don't push, they simply arrive and leave, in a steady cycle that feels timeless. You match your breathing to their motion, inhaling as the wave pulls away, exhaling as it returns. Before long, your entire body sinks naturally with the pace of the ocean. Ahead, you notice a small curve in the coastline where the sand gives way to a series of tide pools. You walk toward them, drawn by the quiet beauty of these sheltered pockets of water. Under the moonlight, the pools look like pieces of polished glass embedded in the sand, their surfaces perfectly smooth. You kneel beside one and peer into its stillness. Tiny sea creatures move gently within. Small crabs, drifting bits of seaweed, minuscule fish that flicker like shadows beneath the surface. The reflections of the stars shimmer across the top of the water, creating the illusion of an entire galaxy hidden in the sand. For a moment, you feel as though you're looking at two skies, the one above you and the one mirrored below. You dip your fingers into the tide pool. The water is cool and refreshing, clear enough that you can see smooth stones resting at the bottom. You run your fingertips across one, feeling its rounded surface. It's been polished by years of waves moving over it, shaped slowly by time and patience, a reminder that nature's softest forces are often the most powerful. You stand again and continue along the beach. The tide pools gradually fade behind you, replaced once more by the open stretch of sand. The night deepens a little more, the air cooling in a pleasant way that sharpens the freshness of each breath. The wind carries the faint scent of the marshlands beyond the dunes, subtle, earthy, and comforting. A little farther ahead, you see a wooden pier extending into the water. It stands quietly, its posts weathered and darkened by years of salt and sun. Lanterns line the pier, each one glowing softly like a floating droplet of golden light. You walk toward it, drawn by the sense of quiet anticipation the structure seems to hold. The boards of the pier creak softly beneath your feet as you step onto it. The wood feels smooth from years of use, and the scent of sea-soaked timber rises with each movement. You walk slowly along the pier, feeling the subtle give of the boards beneath you. The lanterns illuminate your path with a warm glow that contrasts beautifully with the cool blue of the surrounding night. The sound of the waves beneath the pier changes slightly. Instead of rolling smoothly onto the sand, they bump softly against the wooden posts, creating hollow, rhythmic taps. You lean over the railing for a moment, watching the water shimmer as it moves through the open spaces between the support beams. The reflections of the lanterns ripple across the surface, dancing gently in the tide. Halfway down the pier, you stop and look back toward the shore. From this distance, the beach appears serene and untouched. The dunes rise in soft silhouettes. The lighthouse beam sweeps across the horizon again, steady, reassuring, always present. Its light briefly catches the edge of the pier, making the wood glow faintly before slipping away. You continue to the end of the pier, where a small bench sits facing the open water. You take a seat. The wood is slightly cool beneath you, but comfortable. From here, the ocean opens in all directions, an endless quiet expanse stretching beneath the stars. The gentle breeze brushes against your face, carrying the scent of salt and moonlit water. You lean back slightly, letting the night wash over you. The ocean feels peaceful. The sky feels infinite, and you feel small in the most comforting way, like a tiny, cherished piece of a much larger world. A distant buoy bell rings again, the low, warm tone resonating softly across the water. You listen as it echoes, then fades into the steady chorus of waves. The buoy's voice feels timeless, as though it's been calling across these waters for generations, watching over fishermen, travelers, wanderers, and those seeking quiet nights like this one. You stay on the bench for several minutes, absorbing the serenity of the moment. Then, when you feel ready, you rise and walk back down the pier, your steps slow and steady. When you reach the sand again, you turn your gaze toward the dunes. A narrow wooden walkway leads over them, illuminated by a few dim lanterns. You follow the path, feeling the boards under your feet and the gentle brush of dune grass at your sides. At the top of the walkway, the landscape opens into a quiet marshland. The moonlight creates faint, silver highlights on the surface of the water, and the soft chirping of nighttime insects fills the air. The marsh sways gently with the breeze, each blade of grass moving in fluid harmony. You stand there for a moment, taking in the serenity of this hidden corner of Cape Cod. A wooden bench sits at the edge of the marsh, and you take a seat. The view here is different, not the wide openness of the ocean, but a sheltered, intimate quiet. The marsh water reflects the moon in soft, trembled lines. The frogs add their low croaks to the night's symphony. Somewhere nearby, a bird rustles in the reeds, then settles again. The world here feels completely at peace. You breathe in slowly, letting the calmness sink deeper. Your breath falls into the same rhythm as the marsh, subtle, steady, natural. Every sound feels intentional, every movement feels gentle, every moment feels like an invitation to rest. You sit there a while longer, quietly observing the moonlit marsh. The stillness is soft, comforting. It feels like a natural pause, a place to let go of anything heavy, anything lingering, anything that no longer needs to be held. Cape Cod at night is more than a landscape. It is a gentle reminder to breathe. A place where even silence feels warm. A place where the heart can rest. You rise gently from the bench overlooking the marsh, feeling refreshed by the quiet stillness of this hidden corner. The air here carries a different tone, softer, more intimate than the open beach. You take one more slow breath, letting the scent of earth, salt, and moonlit water settle inside you. Then, with calm steps, you begin walking again along the wooden walkway that winds through the dunes. As you return toward the shoreline, you notice how the world has shifted even more deeply into night. The colors have cooled into shades of blue and silver. The breeze has softened, carrying long strokes of cool air across your cheeks. The sand under your feet feels smoother now, as though the night has polished it. You follow the path down from the dunes back onto the beach. The ocean greets you again with its familiar rhythm, a slow inhale, a calm exhale. The waves appear darker now, their edges glowing faintly where the moonlight touches them. You stand for a moment, watching the soft pulses of white foam catching the faint light as they slide gently across the sand. The lighthouse beam sweeps overhead again, moving in patient arcs across the night sky. It feels like a quiet guardian, steady, reliable, watching over the coastline with a calm confidence. As the light touches the beach briefly, it reveals small, subtle details. Tiny shells, a line of seaweed washed up by the tide, the delicate imprints of bird tracks trailing across the sand. You begin walking along the beach once more, but now with an even slower pace. The night invites you to take your time, to savor each moment, each sound, each shift in the air. Your footsteps leave soft impressions on the sand behind you, but even they will soon be kissed away by the gentle waves. As you walk, the wind carries the faint sound of something wooden creaking, rhythmic, uneven, but soothing. You follow the sound and discover a small fishing shack nestled against the dunes. Its frame is weathered, the wood bleached by years of sun and storms. The sign above the door tilts slightly, swaying gently in the breeze. Though the shack is dark and quiet now, it feels like a piece of Cape Cod history resting peacefully until dawn. A few old fishing nets hang from hooks along the side of the shack, their ropes knotted and frayed. Buoys, marked with faded colors, line the wall. You touch one of them, feeling the rough texture beneath your fingers. It's easy to imagine fishermen working here at sunrise, preparing their boats, speaking in low voices as they ready themselves for another day on the ocean. But tonight, everything sleeps. Even the tools of the day seem to rest. You continue walking until the shack becomes just another silent shape behind you. Ahead, the beach widens into a large open space where the sand stretches flat and unbroken. The moonlight bathes everything in a soft, glowing silver. It feels almost otherworldly, like standing in a dream that exists only for you. You take a seat again, this time directly on the open sand. You lean back on your hands and look up. The sky is unbelievably clear. Stars scatter across it in clusters and soft trails, each one flickering with delicate light. One star streaks faintly across the sky, leaving a tiny silver path before fading. It's quick but beautiful, a gentle brushstroke across the darkness. The ocean's sound becomes a lullaby again. Its rhythm is steady, patient, endless. The night air wraps around you like a warm blanket. Even the sand beneath you feels welcoming, holding your weight without resistance. For a long moment, you simply sit and listen. To the waves, to the wind, to the faint rustle of dune grass behind you, to the quiet heartbeat of Cape Cod at night. You lie back slowly, letting your body rest fully on the sand. Your gaze drifts upward to the vast sky again. The constellations seem brighter now, as if they've been waiting for you to notice them. They shimmer softly, their light traveling thousands of years through space only to reach you here on this quiet shoreline. Closing your eyes, you feel the cool night air flow in and out of your lungs. Each breath becomes slower, more natural, more restful. You can almost sense the earth rotating gently beneath you, the subtle shift of the world moving through the night. You open your eyes again and sit up slowly. The ocean sparkles softly in the moonlight, and the faint glimmer of distant lights across the water hints at small homes, boats, and quiet lives unfolding along the cape. There is comfort in knowing that the world is peacefully alive, even in its stillness. You rise and continue your walk. The sand is cool under your feet. Your steps become lighter, slower, quieter. Everything here encourages gentleness. After a short while, you notice a faint glow coming from the edge of the dunes. Curious, you move closer and discover a small wooden cabin resting near the base of the hill. A dim lantern glows in the window, warm, steady, inviting. It flickers softly, casting gentle patterns across the wooden planks. The cabin appears old, but well-loved. A rocking chair sits on the small front porch, swaying just slightly in the breeze. A pair of worn boots rests beside the door, as though someone returned home hours ago and quietly settled inside. The lantern in the window glows like a beacon of comfort, a tiny warm reminder that even the quietest nights have soft places to rest. The cabin feels like a space where time moves slowly, where stories are whispered, where peace is protected. You don't approach too close, respecting the stillness of the place. Instead, you stand at a distance and simply take in the scene. The glow, the shadows, the soft swaying of the rocking chair, the gentle hum of the night around it. Eventually, you turn back toward the beach. You walk again toward the shoreline, where the moonlight stretches across the water in long silver strokes. The lighthouse beam sweeps overhead one more time, marking its slow, reassuring cycle. You continue along the beach until the sand begins to give way to small rocks and pebbles. They clack softly under your steps, creating a delicate, melodic tapping that blends with the waves. The rocks glisten under the moonlight, their surfaces smoothed by years of tides and storms. You pause again, crouching down to pick up a single, small stone. It's cool to the touch, perfectly rounded. You hold it for a moment, feeling its weight in your hand. Something about it feels grounding, as though holding this stone connects you to the long, slow rhythm of time itself. You set it gently back down, allowing it to remain a part of this peaceful place. The night is deep now, and the ocean moves with a softer voice. It's time to continue, just a little farther. There is still one final stretch of Cape Cod waiting for you in the dark, a place where the night becomes deepest and the calm becomes complete. You continue walking along the rocky stretch of shoreline, the small pebbles shifting under your feet with a soft, musical clatter. Each step creates a gentle chime, small stones clicking together, scattered in irregular rhythms that blend with the steady pulse of the waves. The ocean's voice grows deeper here, the sound of each wave carrying a low, soothing resonance. It feels like the coastline is humming a lullaby meant only for the night. As you move farther, the rocks gradually fade back into smooth sand, and the beach opens wide once more. This section feels different, quieter, more untouched. The dunes rise higher on your inland side, casting soft, rounded shadows under the moonlight. Their shapes are gentle, sculpted by wind over years of patient shaping. The surface of the sand here ripples in perfect patterns, as though the night itself has brushed a delicate hand across it. You slow your steps, letting the calmness deepen around you. The air feels cooler now, carrying a whisper of distant pine trees and marshland mingled with the familiar sea breeze. Every inhale feels fresh. Every exhale feels like something heavy leaving your chest. Far ahead, the beach curves inward into a small cove. It's sheltered by two low dunes, creating a natural bowl of quiet. The waves inside the cove are gentler than anywhere else you've walked, arriving in soft rolls, barely making a sound as they kiss the shore. The water in the cove is so smooth that it reflects the moon with remarkable clarity, as though you're looking at a piece of the night sky resting on the sand. You walk toward the cove's center and take a seat near the waterline. The sand here is cool and slightly damp. When you run your fingertips across it, it holds its shape briefly before softening back into smoothness. You close your eyes, letting the gentle hush of the cove settle around you like a warm blanket. For a long moment, you simply listen. The ocean here speaks softly, a whisper instead of a roar. The breeze brushes your hair lightly, barely noticeable but deeply comforting. The dunes shelter you from the world, creating a sense of solitude without loneliness. When you open your eyes again, you notice a cluster of small rocks at the edge of the cove, their surfaces glistening under the moonlight. Some are smooth and rounded, shaped by years of tides rolling over them. Others have sharper edges softened just enough by time. The rocks form a natural pattern, like a quiet arrangement left by the ocean itself. You approach them, stepping carefully, and run your hand along one of the larger stones. Its surface is cool, textured, and ancient feeling, a silent reminder of how patient the sea can be. You place your palm flat against it, letting its stillness seep into your skin. For a moment, the stone feels like a pulse point of the earth itself. Nearby, a small patch of seaweed rests like a bundle of dark ribbons, gently shifting with the breeze. The faint scent it carries is earthy and subtle, blending with the freshness of the sea air. You kneel beside it, listening to the soft crackle of distant waves as they settle into the cove. When you stand again, you walk slowly along the inner curve of the cove. The sand feels especially fine beneath your feet, almost powdery, like it has been sifted and refined by countless tides. Tiny shells catch the moonlight, small spirals, fragile pieces of broken sand dollars, and delicate fragments that sparkle like tiny pearls scattered across the ground. You pause and pick up one small shell, turning it in your fingers. Its pale surface glimmers faintly, and the spiral carved into it feels like a miniature galaxy. You hold it for a moment, appreciating the quiet beauty shaped by time and water. Then, gently, you place it back onto the sand, letting it remain a part of the peaceful cove. The night deepens around you. The sky grows darker, the stars brighter. The constellations seem closer now, almost within reach. The moon, high and luminous, casts a wide path of silver across the water. It stretches toward the horizon like a bridge into the night, shimmering with every subtle movement of the tide. You continue exploring the shoreline, your steps soft and unhurried. The world feels slower here, as if time itself has decided to drift instead of march. You feel a profound stillness settling within you, the kind that doesn't just calm the mind but also comforts the heart. Further along the cove, you find a small indentation in the dunes, a natural alcove shaped by wind and weather. It forms a gentle, sheltered hollow just above the beach. You step into it and sit down, leaning back against the smooth slope of sand. The position cradles you perfectly. The dune forms a supportive curve behind you, making you feel protected and grounded. From this spot, the cove stretches open in front of you like a quiet stage. The waves glide forward in silver-lined curves, the stars shimmer above. The breeze flows across the dunes and brushes gently against your face. Everything moves in harmony, the sea, the wind, the night. As you rest, you allow your thoughts to drift freely. Some drift away like leaves carried by a slow stream. Others rise briefly and fade. The calmness here gives your mind space to breathe. You focus again on the rhythmic sound of the waves. Their gentle cadence becomes almost hypnotic, each roll soft and soothing. You notice that your breathing naturally mirrors their pattern, aligning seamlessly with the ebb and flow of the sea. After some time, you rise slowly, brushing the cool sand from your clothing. Still feeling the comfort of the cove, you take a few steps back toward the open beach. The dunes rise higher here, casting long shadows that ripple across the sand as the breeze shifts the grass. The lighthouse beam reaches this area as well, sweeping gently across the landscape and briefly illuminating the path in front of you. You stand at the edge of the cove and look back once more. Its peacefulness lingers, as though it has become part of you. The quiet curve of sand, the soft hush of the waves, the shimmering reflection of the moon, all of it feels like a memory you'll carry long after you leave this night behind. With a final deep breath, you turn and continue your walk. There is one last stretch of Cape Cod waiting, a place where the coastline narrows, the dunes rise higher, and the night reaches its calmest, deepest form. The journey isn't over yet, but the peace you've gathered along the way follows you, quietly, gently, like a tide that never leaves. You leave the cove behind, stepping once more onto the open stretch of beach where the sand spreads wide and smooth beneath the moonlight. The coastline curves gently forward, drawing your eyes toward the quieter, more secluded end of Cape Cod's shoreline. The dunes rise higher here, creating a soft barrier between you and the inland world, giving this place an even deeper sense of stillness. The night has settled fully now. The moon glows high and clear, painting everything in a gentle silver hue. Its reflection on the ocean stretches across the water like a shimmering ribbon, quivering slightly with each subtle motion of the waves. The sound is softer here, but also deeper, a low, rolling murmur that feels close, comforting, and ancient. Your footsteps create small depressions in the cool sand. You walk slowly, letting your senses attune to the quiet world around you. The air feels cooler against your skin, crisp but gentle, carrying faint traces of sea salt and the earthy scent of the dunes. Each breath feels clean and refreshing, like the night has been designed to soothe you from the inside out. As you continue forward, you notice that the beach narrows slightly, tapering into a long, elegant strip of sand between the rising dunes and the open sea. The dunes themselves sway with tall grasses, their slender blades brushing against one another with soft, whispering sounds. In the moonlight, the grasses gleam faintly, moving like waves on land, a gentle dance mirrored by the ocean's own rhythm. You pause to watch the grass sway. The movement is fluid, calming. It responds to the breeze with effortless grace, bending and rising again without resistance. For a moment, you stand still, feeling your breath align with the motion, your mind settling quietly into the same natural rhythm. Farther ahead, you spot a cluster of driftwood arranged naturally by storms and tides. The pieces are twisted into elegant shapes, their pale surfaces smoothed by years of weather. Some lean against each other like sculptures, forming natural arches and patterns shaped not by human hands, but by the quiet persistence of wind and sea. You walk over and rest your hand upon one piece. Its surface is cool and smooth, worn down to a silk-like finish. It feels grounded, a piece of the earth that has traveled far, endured much, and now rests peacefully here. The lighthouse beam sweeps the horizon again, casting a soft glow across the beach. As it passes over the dunes, it creates brief highlights in the grass, illuminating their tips before drifting onward. The beam moves slowly, predictably, like a reassuring hand tracing the edges of the world. You watch it for a moment, following its path across the water, across the sand, across the sky. Continuing your walk, you reach an area where the shoreline curves inward slightly, forming a narrow point where the waves lap against both sides of the sandbar. The sound here is different, a duet of water approaching from two directions. The rhythm of the waves overlaps gently, creating a layered harmony. You close your eyes and listen. The left side rolls in with a softer hiss, while the right side sends a deeper, slower rush. Together, they blend into a peaceful natural chorus. You open your eyes again and walk to the edge of the thin sandbar. The water on your left glows with the reflection of the moon, while the water on your right appears darker but equally calm. You stand with the breeze flowing past you from both sides at once, cool and fresh, brushing lightly across your face. The sensation is delicate, almost ethereal. A little farther inland, nestled between two dunes, you spot the shape of a weathered wooden signpost. Its letters are faded from wind and time, but you can still make out the name of the path it marks, an old trail that leads through the dunes and back toward the main village. You don't take it now, but simply observing it feels comforting. It reminds you that there are many paths through Cape Cod, some leading outward into the world, and others leading deeper into stillness. You continue walking until you find another natural dip in the dunes, where the sands slope gently downward into a small hollow. It's a cozy pocket of earth, sheltered on all sides, almost like a natural chamber carved from sand. You step inside and sit down. The sand here is cool but soft, forming easily to your shape. The wind swirls above, but the hollow protects you from its full strength, surrounding you with a quiet, gentle cocoon. You lean back against the dune, tilting your head toward the stars. The sky looks enormous from this angle, a dome of shimmering light stretching infinitely above you. Constellations glimmer softly in their fixed positions. A few faint clouds drift across the sky, illuminated at their edges, forming ghost-like shapes that disappear as quickly as they appear. You let your eyes trace the stars for a while, noticing how they seem to pulse gently with the rhythm of the night. Some stars twinkle brightly, while others glow more steadily. Together, they form a delicate pattern that feels ancient and comforting. The longer you look, the more it feels like the sky is breathing with you, slow, deep, rhythmic. With a soft sigh, you close your eyes and let the sounds of the night deepen around you. The ocean's voice rises subtly, its low murmurs vibrating through the sand beneath you. The dune grass sways gently above, adding a faint rustle to the natural symphony. Insects chirp softly from the marsh beyond, their rhythm delicate and steady. Every sound feels intentionally placed, part of a larger harmony that exists only in the quiet of night. You sit there, letting your body settle into complete rest. The calmness grows deeper, warmer. The night becomes softer, like a weighted blanket laid gently over your shoulders. When you open your eyes again, the world looks even more peaceful than before. The moon has shifted slightly in the sky, casting new shadows across the sand. The lighthouse beam sweeps across the horizon once more, slow and constant, as though reminding you that the world remains steady even as time drifts forward. You rise from the hollow and take a few slow steps back toward the shoreline, feeling the cool sand between your toes. The waves greet you again with their soft rhythm. The air wraps around you comfortably. The world feels whole, quiet, and deeply at peace. There is just one final stretch of beach ahead, a place where the coastline softens into its quietest form, and where the journey's calmest moment waits for you. You walk toward it with gentle steps, carrying with you all the peace the night has given so far. You follow the final stretch of beach, where the coastline narrows into a quiet, gentle curve. Here, the night feels even deeper, even softer, as though it has gathered all the calmness of the world and placed it gently upon the sand. The waves roll in more quietly, their edges faint and almost whisper-like, as if they're mindful of how peaceful everything has become. The breeze brushes lightly across your skin, cool but comforting, carrying the scent of salt, fresh water, and distant pine. Each breath feels unhurried, as though your body has fully tuned itself to the slow, steady rhythm of Cape Cod's night. Even the sound of your footsteps seems softer now, absorbed by the sand and woven into the natural hush of the shoreline. Ahead, a small rise in the sand leads to a gentle slope overlooking the water, a perfect place to rest. You climb it slowly, feeling the cool grains shift beneath your feet. When you reach the top, the view opens beautifully. The ocean stretches wide and endless before you, the surface shimmering under the moon's silver glow. Far in the distance, the lighthouse beam continues its patient rotation, a calm heartbeat pulsing across the dark. You sit down on the crest of the dune, letting your body sink into the soft sand. The surface molds itself comfortably to your shape, providing a natural cradle. The air here feels perfectly balanced, not too warm, not too cool, just right for resting, thinking, or simply letting go. The soundscape is gentle, layered. Waves roll softly. Grass whispers lightly behind you. The wind hums with a barely audible tune. The world seems to exhale in long, soothing breaths. You look up at the sky. The stars are brighter now, filling the darkness with countless points of light. They shimmer softly, like tiny lanterns suspended in an infinite dome. Some stars twinkle fiercely, others glow steadily, and still others barely flicker. But together, they form an intricate tapestry of night that feels both ancient and comforting. A faint line of light crosses the sky, a shooting star, brief and delicate. It disappears just as quickly as it arrived, leaving behind a sense of quiet wonder. You take a slow breath, letting the moment settle inside you like a small, warm flame. You close your eyes and listen again. To the waves, to the wind, to the rhythm of your own breathing. Everything aligns into a single, gentle harmony. When you open your eyes once more, you notice that the tide has come closer, brushing the shore with a softer texture. The foam glows faintly under the moonlight, leaving thin white lines across the sand before fading again. The ocean feels alive, but in a peaceful, supportive way, as though it understands exactly what kind of night this is. After a few minutes, you rise and walk toward the water's edge. You let the waves touch your feet again. The coolness of the ocean sends a pleasant shiver up your legs, grounding you in the moment. You watch as the water pulls back slowly, trailing around your toes before retreating to rejoin the tide. Standing there, you feel the world steady itself beneath you. The sand shifts slightly, the wind brushes gently against your hair, and the night stretches endlessly above you. Everything feels connected: the water, the land, the sky, and the quiet presence of your own breath moving in time with the sea. You take a few more steps along the waterline, savoring the feeling of the cool sand pressing softly against your feet. The ocean's surface sparkles under the moon, shifting in slow patterns that resemble delicate silver embroidery. Farther offshore, a faint light from a small boat drifts calmly across the water, its presence subtle yet comforting. As you continue walking, the dunes begin to slope more gently, creating a natural amphitheater of sand and sea. You move toward a soft hollow where the beach dips slightly before rising once more into a smaller dune. The shape of the landscape here feels intentional, as though designed to hold quiet moments like this. You sit again, this time allowing your weight to rest fully as you lean back into the sand. It supports you easily. You stretch your legs, letting your toes graze the cool surface. The night wraps around you like a gentle cocoon, warm where it touches your skin, cool where it brushes your cheeks with the breeze. You look up again. The sky feels even closer now. The stars pulse gently. The moon casts its silver glow across the dunes, outlining every quiet curve of the landscape. The tranquility feels complete, a perfect, unbroken calm. You close your eyes. Your breath softens. Your shoulders loosen. Your thoughts drift into stillness. Cape Cod's night has done its work, wrapping you in calm, guiding you gently toward rest, offering you peace in every detail. You imagine the lighthouse still sweeping across the horizon, its beams circling with steady purpose. You imagine the dunes holding their silent vigil. You imagine the ocean breathing in slow, rhythmic waves. All of it continues, even as your mind grows lighter, even as your body settles deeper into comfort. You lie back fully, letting the sand support every part of you. You feel the earth beneath you, solid, cool, steady. You feel the sky above you, endless, quiet, infinite. You feel the ocean beside you, rhythmic, soothing, alive. You take one more slow breath, and then another, and then another. Your body grows heavier in the best possible way, like it's sinking into a bed of peaceful quiet. Your thoughts become softer, blurred at the edges. The night seems to cradle you gently, whispering that everything is okay, everything is safe, everything is calm. The waves continue their soft whisper. The lighthouse continues its steady glow. The stars continue their patient shimmer, and you continue to drift into deeper stillness. As the night settles fully around you, you feel a deep sense of gratitude for the quiet, for the calm, for the gentle embrace of a place as timeless as Cape Cod. You know that whenever you close your eyes and breathe in slowly, this peace will return to you. For now, you rest. You breathe. You let the journey fade into comfort. Cape Cod remains, watching over the night and guiding you gently into sleep.